Councilwoman Faatz.
Thank you, Madam President. I will not be supporting this proposal this evening, and I'd like to back up so that the audience watching us on Channel 8 gets this in context as to what we're talking about. As you will all remember, in 2007, the Better Denver Bond campaign came forth, and there were a number of different elements that people could vote on in that. And you remember they were like 1A, 1B, 1C. You remember all the little dancing letters? Well, 1H was one that was slightly different from the rest of the bonds because it was new construction for cultural facilities, and it was a very hotly contested bond issue. But there were promises put out to the people, and the press jumped on this and really played up the fact that there would be this large amount of money coming in from the private sector to also support this effort, and so that together the city and private investors would be going hand in hand. And that's how it was put out to people. And in fact, when we came back after the voters narrowly approved 1H, we came back and wrote the agreement to be the way that it was laid out to be, which actually stated that the cultural facilities, and of course the other cultural facility is Betcher Concert Hall. That one is not before us tonight, but it is part of the $70 million worth of bonds that were approved within that $550 million total package. At any rate, we wrote an agreement, and I have it right here, the funding and assignment agreement with the Denver Museum of Nature and Science that laid out the fact that there would be private funding that would go hand in hand. And it even says that the money is released, $3 of city money, and since they had committed to $23 million of private funding, that it would be $2.30 of their money hand in hand as you went through this. Now, since that time, the mayor has wanted to help encourage the construction industry and rev up the ability to jump right on this. And frankly, and for the most part, I agree with him. I think it's a good idea. The people have already approved the bonds. And so if you take a look at the percentage that you're talking about, the percentage for both of the cultural facilities would be about 12% of that. And you have right now about 5% resting with the Nature and Science Museum. So that would mean otherwise you'd have about 95%, or in worst possible case, 88% of this $550 million package. You're talking about $480 million for sure that you could go ahead and jump on right away. Sounds good. Why then do we have to change an agreement that protected the taxpayers and guaranteed that they would be getting the kind of cooperation all the way through the building of this new construction the way they had been promised? Why should we change this agreement, especially given the new information we now have that you really can't begin on it immediately right away anyway? So the one argument that was put out to us, let's jump on this right away, let's get it done in 2011, not 2012, we are now being told, and I appreciate the honesty there, I really do. George Sparks is a great guy. I mean, we all admire him very much. This is not about him that I'm voting against. It's just the fact that it is not a good policy decision for the taxpayers. They were promised something, and now we keep nipping away at that promise to the point that who knows what the next little backtrack will be. At this point, I believe it would make a lot of sense just to go ahead with the 88% of that bond agreement that we don't have to have private raising of monies for. Allow the cultural facilities to go ahead and raise their commitment. I had even said, the way it was before I had this new information, well, why don't we at least hold back the final payment? Oh no, we need to go forth with it all. There's no protection for the taxpayers, really. So I believe that it wasn't a good policy decision beforehand. Now it's not even a good practical decision.
Madam Secretary, roll call.
Hancock.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
Linkart.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Madison.
Aye.
Montero.
Aye.
Nevitt.
Aye.
Boygan.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Faatz.
No.
Garcia.
Aye.
Madam President.
Aye.
12 ayes, 1 nay.
12 ayes, 1 nay. Council Bill 208 has passed.